Um, Hello everyone, thanks for joining today's webinar on Canibuild. My name is Timothy Kakara, I'm the founder of Canibuild. The focus on today's webinar is quoting. So we'll be focusing on, Canibuild does a lot of features, but we'll be focusing on the quoting feature because we've been getting a lot of questions in regards to this feature. And it's quite a large feature, so it's deserving of its own sort of focus. So that's what we'll be doing today. There's a few people sort of jumping on, so we'll give it a few moments just so everyone that's subscribed, whether it's through Zoom or through jumping on Facebook, and I have an opportunity to sort of get on board and listen into what Canibuild is and how it can help you in your quoting in your business. So while people are jumping on, I'll probably just introduce a bit about the company, myself. Canibuild's been developed over the last better part of 5 years. It's focused on helping the construction industry, in particular project home and builders, pool builders, granny flat builders, shed builders, anyone that's building anything on site to quickly do a feasibility in terms of siting, planning rule assessment, as well as quoting, which we'll be talking today. So I'll touch on those points in this demonstration, but I'll be focusing on quoting in particular. So what I'll do is I'll kick things off. I'll share my screen and I'll be running through the demonstration. I encourage everyone to be able to just ask questions, whether it's on the Facebook link or on the Zoom question and answer panel. And I'll try to get those answered either through the presentation or at the end. So let's get on with it, because I know everyone's quite busy and they're probably taking time away from their work. So I appreciate everyone's time. So let's share. Okay, so hopefully everyone can see my screen. I've shared the whole screen, so we'll be downloading PDFs and quotes so that I can share everything as it's coming live. So essentially, Canibuild's a geospatial application. Its backbone is NEMAP, which we've got a partnership with. So it's got the highest res imagery. So the intention is for you to be able to very quickly do client facing in terms of the quoting process. So it's quite straightforward. So say, for instance, we wanted to look up an address. I've got this one here. So say we want to look up 801 Victoria Road in Ryde. We just put the address in the search, and basically we'll be presented very quickly with an aerial image of that site. Aerial image of that site will have information such as sewer in some jurisdictions, as well as boundary definitions. So 43.46 deep, 15.89 in frontage, and it's also guides on Victoria Road. So nothing to flash right now. Like I said, I'll be focusing on quotes, but just to very quickly recap for those. You've got the ability to show contours, which are up to 250 mil accuracy. You can do annotation, the measuring. You can pick your designs to deploy. You can very quickly check rules. So let's get started. So say, for example, we were doing a quote on a house build, or say, for example, say for argument's sake, a pool, and say we pick on a pool design. You will see that the pool gets placed spatially. You're able to position this pool. It's automatically detecting the side setbacks, rear setbacks, front setbacks, and whether it's a pool or a house or a granny flat, it works in the same way. You're able to deploy, and the setbacks will adjust very quickly. So you can see here it's calculating the front setback quite simply. Now, you can click on the rules and it'll quickly show you the rules in terms of setbacks. They're live, so if you breach the setbacks, it shows those setbacks and what you're not or complying with or are complying with. So if we place this pool in the correct location, it's all ticked off. So let's just jump into the quoting section, which everyone sort of logged into to find more about out. So if I click on pools, the first thing is to understand that as you're uploading all your designs, you're able to associate those designs with costings. So if you're a project home builder, you can have a list of project home designs with those set prices. If you're a pool builder, the same thing goes. Fiberglass pool builder, you were able to sort of associate a wide range of design catalogs. We'll go into that in detail in a bit. But as you drag and drop those designs, it'll show that it's $10,000, for example, in this example. Now, obviously, we're going to be building up more on that quote. So you just simply click Add Item, and then you've got access to your pricing catalog. Now, this pricing catalog is controlled by yourself being a user, meaning they can be set up in your own groupings. So here I've got in the accessories and cleaning, say a creepy crawly, or a telescopic pole for cleaning, or what have you. You've got the control ability to increase the number of quantity of the unit of measure, and you can sort of quickly add that. And once you're happy with what you've added, you can see the two items, it's 835, and you can quickly add that to the quote, and it'll add those two items to the quote. Now, the important aspect to sort of realize here is, as you're adding items, it's adding to their groupings automatically. So if I clicked on something else, say electrical lighting, a lighting controller, and clicked, it'll have it in its own separate category. Now, these categories can be controlled by yourself per item, which means that your sales consultants don't have to drag and drop in an Excel spreadsheet where these items are presented. And it's always looking exactly standardized amongst all your quotes. So here we can see that the grand total is 11,124, and we can quickly add anything else if there's a delivery charge or steps or freight, whatever might be the situation. It quickly keeps on adding those in. Now, if you wanted to get further information about our product, say this creepy crawl, you can click on the item. It'll drop in and show the description, the brands, everything you've set up in the background for that product, so you can sort of dive in. I've been a bit lazy on the demonstration, but if you had a picture of the creepy crawly, that picture will show up here, and you can sort of have that information ready to present to a client. So once, say the client's happy with this quote of 12,324 for a pool, be it a house or a granny flat, it will be the same process and the same steps. You can just click on Get Quote. Now you can put the client's detail, you can put a deposit amount. So say we put the deposit, which could be not necessarily the deposit to start construction, but the deposit to get to the next step. Because what a lot of our clients are using this quoting tool for is to replace that guesstimate at the start as well. Particularly for larger project home builders or custom home builders, they use this as having pricing items for their next step. So let's include some basics or a rainwater tank for a specific development, things like that. The things that get missed, or just optional upgrade type items, popular ones, and just move to that next step. So once I click on Proceed, what happens there is it's automatically generating in the background this quote based on the branding colors, stylizing for a business. So what it does remove is that necessity to go back home, say for instance with a sales consultant, and start doing the midnight shift of preparing quotes for their clients and start emailing that. So we go into Docs. This quote report will be ready in Docs. We can click Download. And basically, what will be presented is, here we've got Acme Corporation, but you've got control over your branding colors. Acme Corporation has a very interesting gray and light gray color scheme. But you've got all your customer details, the address that you've looked up. You've got the pool that's been dropped in this example with the amount, the unit of measure each, the creepy crawly, the construction, and you can scroll down. It's got the deposit of 500, the balance, the grand total, the GST, the subtotal. Any notes that we would have added, any terms and conditions, signature block, and my details as the sales consultant with a profile pic. from a time when I didn't have a beard. So essentially, you can see that this is quite impressive to present to a client, and it was quite free flowing from the start of the process to this, which, essentially, if I really wanted to, I can keep it under a minute. And you can present this client either in person, right then and there, click print, provide it, or email it, and send it through. So you can imagine that this is quite versatile in producing quite a few quotes, because now what happens is, say the client has to look at it, and it's right in front of you, you're able to react to their sort of, what they're thinking in terms of the price. And then you can go back to quote, and I've got quite a few build types, that's why I can see a few. You can go back to quote and start changing things, and then say, look, the creepy crawl is a bit too expensive. How about we remove that? And you can click remove. And let's just say they're thinking of going ahead, but they're umming and ahhing on price. What you can do now is you can say things like, okay, how about I sort of reduce the cost of this telescopic pole to nothing. Let's just throw it in. There's two of them here. So by clicking the pen, you can put in a discount. So say we discount that to $30, it'll turn it to 0. You go back, and now it's got 0. It was 60 minus 60, and you've got that line item, and you can quickly provide that discount. Let's just say the client's still umming and ahhing, and you're feeling generous, and you just wanted to get this across the line. If you click on the grand total, you can do a further discount, say $500, just to get the amount under. Click apply. You've now got a $560 discount. It's just below 11,000. It's 10,989, and you're able to proceed. So what it's done is given you the flexibility to do line item discounts, like you've done here on this telescopic pole, or grand total item discount, which we've done at the total. We've done the icon for discount as a pen to be quite hidden, because if we put the word discount, if you're doing this as a client-facing application, which is what it's designed for, you can be rest assured that the client's first question is going to be, what does that discount button do? So now what happens is, if we click get quote, and say we place that 500 deposit, and then we say discount for 7 days only, and click proceed, it will just regenerate that quote. In Docs, you can see there's a number 5, so it's keeping track of your versioning. So click on download, open this, and basically now we see the same quote, except now with the discounting and the grand total, the additional discount of $500. So the grand total, $500, and the balance. And you've got the note that we quickly added here is the discount for 7 days only. So it's very rapid to sort of go back and forth and amend this quote accordingly. You can also obviously generate a site plan in addition to the quote, so you can couple a site plan and a quote together and provide both at the same time. And the site plan can be either just a screenshot of the pool and its location and any notations that you've done like this, which you just click on the button and do this screenshot, and you're able to present that as part of your proposal material, or a more detailed site plan for your car. Now, so what have we done as of right now? Well, what we've done is we've quickly sited and positioned the pool, typically in front of the client. We've even checked the rules. We've started doing a quote. We've applied some discounting to that quote. And we're sort of gone back and forth and already generated 2 quotes. So you can imagine your current process with your sales team, what they're trying to achieve in that first consultation, especially on site, is engagement. And typically what happens is the quote becomes a scribble on a flyer, or the quote becomes just something verbalized, just allow 10,000 for drop edge beams, whether it's a house, or allow X, Y, and Z off the cuff. Having these items within this application, which is cloud-based, it standardizes those guesstimates and allows a very accurate initial quote for a client to start making a decision, and you can gauge the reaction from the client immediately, as opposed to spending all Sunday doing quotes, batch sending them out, only to have half the people not respond because they're instantly not happy with the quote, for example. And by doing it this way, you can start engaging the reaction and start working with the client as to what needs to be added or not, for this quote. So now, the other aspects of the application, what it can do to further speed that process is you can see on the pools and spas, you've got a little drop-down arrow. Now, what this does is it lets you deploy templates so you don't have to start each quote from scratch. So say here, for instance, I did one for pool demo and click apply. What that'll do is it'll change all my figures. It's warned me that it'll change everything. But if I didn't want to start a quote from scratch, I'm able to just deploy this. Now, the way templates can work is it could reflect your inclusion range. So it could be your gold, silver, bronze range. It can also be reflective of certain areas. So you know that the area, and I've got a question here, but so I'll just quickly finish this bit up and I'll get to the question. So basically, it's able to do this template and it can reflect how your business works. So inclusions or regions or particular development sites, especially for project home builders. So you don't forget that this development estate has a sort of rainwater tank requirements and so forth. So we do have a question. The question's, can you control the amount of discounts the consultants can apply? Very good question, because if it wasn't able to do that, the chances are your sales numbers will go through the roof, but they'll all be set at 0. So I'll show you how that's done. So the question's about discounts. The discount is fully controllable in the admin page. So if I go to the admin page, go on quotes, and I'll go through what all of these bits and pieces do, but to focus on the answer of this question, in the discounting, you're able to control the discount. So here you've got users can discount by, say, 5%. So that could be a sales consultant. And you can set an admin, say, for instance, a sales manager to a higher discount. And these discounts can be dollar discounts or percentage discounts. So what happens is if we try to discount, say, too much here, and say we want to discount, say, $10,000 on this, and click apply, it'll stop you and it'll tell you what your maximum discount is. So, and that can be anything, that could be 2%, 1%. So you've got full control over what the discount is, and you don't have to do that mental calculation. As you're changing figures, the discount will adjust as well. So you'll never be caught out that you accidentally applied a discount as a percentage, and then you took something away, which is the reason you gave the discount in the first place. Say they wanted a huge optional upgrade item, and then you won't be sort of caught out. So you won't have a situation where, why did you give $10,000 discount? Because this client asked for a creepy crawly and also this and that and this, and then took all that away, and then I forgot to take the discount away. So in answer to the question, you've got full control over the discount percentages. You've got the flexibility for management to override the discount of the sales staff, to be able to make that quick decision. So a sales consultant can ring the manager on the phone and say, hey, Joe wants to sign up today. Can you just log in and authorize this discount? Because I think it's a good deal. It's a flat block, easy access, straightforward. They've asked for every bells and whistles. Think there's good money in this. Let's just move along and management make the decision. So hopefully that answers that question. So, and I encourage anyone that's listening in to ask those questions as we shoot along. Now, here, in this template that I've applied, you can see something new here, which is optional, excluded from grand total. Now, what optional items do is, say, for instance, someone wanted to, going back to the creepy crawly example, say someone was umming and ahhing and saying, look, I don't know about 775, I heard I can get it for 600, whatever. Now, if you click on the optional, it's basically putting it in the quote, but not adding it to the costed items. So it's excluded, but when you generate this quote, so let's just generate this one, and go to docs, and it'll be 6, and download, and open this guy up. Now, what happens is, at the bottom here, you can see you've got the optional excluded from grand total. You've got the amounts of what these items would cost, and then it's excluding this from the grand total. So basically, it lets you sort of encourage either upselling or items that the client is umming about. Or if you wanted to put those popular type of upgrades but not inflate the quote figure, because unfortunately, today's age, everyone just scrolls down to the bottom and just sees what the grand total amount is. So if you don't want to inflate that, but still provide the answers to the client, because sometimes, especially with project home builders, clients might say, look, I'm thinking about a 10 kilowatt aircon. You know, in the back of your head, they're going to freak when they see $10,000, $12,000 item, but they've asked for it. So you want to do the right thing by including in the quote. You can do it in this way for the client to then make that decision, but they're seeing a grand total, which is much less, but you're still answering that request. So I hope you're seeing that this quote tool is genuinely designed from the ground up to reflect how construction actually is sold on the ground, and the coming backwards and forwards between client requests and changes, and the quoting process is intermixed with basically just questions and alternatives and versions, and there's a lot of changes. So now you can see how I'm chopping and changing this quote without having to leave my desktop. I haven't typed anything in, which means it makes it very easy for the salesperson to make these changes as he goes along, or she goes along. So just to recap, we're able to add items. The search is very strong. So if you just type in light, and even if I just go like this and say light, not even complete the word and start putting WA, it'll start getting to light water feature. So your sales team don't even need to remember all the words and all the potential items that exist. They can just start typing, say clean, and they'll start getting to clean, or say pump, and they'll start going to the pump. And if they want to know about information about the pump, they can click I and go into the information. Again, being a bit lazy, I haven't done filled it in, but you're able to drill down into that info and quickly add. So you can imagine, for instance, then if say this client for the pool wanted to build a fence, and they built a fence and it's 16 meters, then you're able to go to add fencing, and say frameless glass fence, and then put say 16 meters for glass fence. They see it's $8,000. They might have a heart attack. You can put it as optional, whatever might be the case. Click add, and then you've added that fencing. So you've got in construction, landscaping, frames. You know, they said, look, that's a bit expensive. You can go to line item, discount the line item because you know it's a high margin item. And you're able to keep chopping and changing and have this quote presented in a way that very quickly you can say to a client, look, your design and approval is going to cost $1,600, your construction is $14,000, and you've got your pool, which is $10,000 for this particular pool that you've selected. And for project home builders, you can imagine the same will go with encasement. You can apply encasement and so on and so forth. And so in the same way, I just added the fence. So it's not designed to, although some clients are using it for their fully featured quoting tool, it's not designed to get to the bags of cement and how many brick veneer ties and how many nails and lineal meters or timber or you know, Z bars and things like that. It can be, but that's not for this stage. As you can imagine, your salesperson isn't talking in those languages. They're talking in terms of drop edges and you know, roughly will cost 10 grand in drop edge, or roughly cost this for landscaping. I can throw in this optional upgrade. So these items can be added in. So how are they added in? And you just go to the admin and you've got full control of your item catalog. So if I click on the item catalog and click on say houses, for example, or pools and spas, it doesn't matter, it's the same concept. You've got your items, you've got your prices, you can search in the same way, and then you can start doing things like, you know, you can import your entire pricing catalog, so your list of items that you're working with. You can export into a spreadsheet, so you can export into alternate systems, or you can just export it to update in bulk, or you can just add a new item, and adding a new item is as simple as that. You can add description. Even your description can be quite formatted, so you can have bullet points. So say, for instance, you had an optional upgrade where you say includes X, Y, and Z, and you wanted to bullet point that. You can just go X, Y, Z, and that'll form part of the description of that item. Now, the other important aspects to include, and Again, if anyone's got questions, just ask away. You're able to control how these items are grouped, both in terms of how they're searched. So you're searching groups. So I want to search this as accessories, electrical filters, and heaters and heating. These might not necessarily be the same groupings you would want to do to display in your quote. So you can group them to make it easier for your sales team to find and search and add. And then you can either default it to replicate those groupings, or you can say, I want them to be shown in stage 2 approval or stage 3 construction, or whatever is your quoting section. So you can type that in, and then it will be displayed in those groups. So typically in a nice and presentable format for the end quote. Now, the power of Canibuild doesn't just stop there. You can control what these items apply to. So what that means is you can say that these certain pumps, for example, only apply to those certain designs. So if there's a pump that just doesn't cater for, say, a larger pool, or you've got an air conditioning unit of 10 kilowatts, which just isn't appropriate and wouldn't meet basic requirements for a smaller designed home, you can start clicking applies to, which means that from the front end, when the sales consultant deploys a pool of a certain size, and then they try to look for a pump to add that pump in as an optional upgrade, for example, they'll limit the pumps that are displayed to only those pumps that is for that pool size. For home builders, a better example could be air conditioning sizings, or like triple sliding doors at small houses that will just not comply to basics. And you can go through the process of making sure that you never do a mistake again in that quoting process when the salesperson is just trying to engage with the client. So when you add the item, you just click save, and it'll be added into the pricing catalog. Now, the other important aspect to sort of list is not only have you got full control over the pricing catalog, if you make changes in those catalogs, they're reflected immediately throughout your whole sales team. So if you've got one salesperson, or you're the salesperson and you're running a smaller operation looking to grow, or you've got 20 salespeople on the field, if you make a change here, then on the very next time the item's used, it'll reflect the new price or the new description. The description can include qualifications like subject tos. You can delete items, and then that item won't be added on. So gone are the days where you just have to constantly email staff or tell everyone to come on the sales meeting, bring their folders, grab all their cheat sheets, rip them up, print out new cheat sheets, hand them over. You can control everything from here, and the second you click save, it will recurse through your entire sales team. So just as easy as it is to manage your item catalogs, you can manage your design catalogs, again, whether it's granny flats, houses, or pools. You're able to control the description, the item name, the pricing amount, and the particulars of that pool. So you do it once and it goes through everywhere. So if a new pool design comes, you just add it in. Now your entire sales team has it. One pool goes obsolete, you can remove it, and it's no longer there. Same goes with project home builders. And even if you're a custom home builder, basically what a lot of our clients are doing is they do start from some examples, so they can have loaded previous jobs that they've done, where it's a starting point to be able to leverage the skill, the power of Canibuild in terms of the planning rules, assessments, the siting, and have that start conversation to be able to get to the quoting stage. Or the quoting stage can just simply be for the next stage, like let's add the design and approval phase stage, and our design and approval package includes these 10 points. Did you want to go ahead? It doesn't necessarily have to be the quoting tool for the entire build. Now, the other incredible part of the quoting application and how it works is essentially you're able to control exactly what is presented in that quote. So what that means is you can provide as much or as little information as you want. Did you want to show totals by line items, by subsections, by sections, by grand total, only grand total? You have that full control. So let's do a bit of a deep dive in the back end of quotes, and I'll be able to show you what control and flexibility you have. Number one, you're able to control the discounting like I touched on earlier. Number two, even the deposit can be automatically calculated. And again, I've got a lot of build types, So for you guys, this would be a lot cleaner view. But say for houses, you're able to do a percentage or a dollar amount, and then you can apply that either to a grand total or a certain section. So for example, for builders, you might have a design and approval stage and a construction stage. And your deposit is 50% of the planning and approval stage. So you can say 50% as a percentage of design and approval. And each time you generate a quote, it'll automatically calculate that as a deposit. Which means if you add an item to that section, it knows to automatically recalculate the deposit. So you can imagine how flexible that is. You don't have to like get the spreadsheet, have the spreadsheet, enter those items into another system, whether that's your PDF contract or you send it into the office for them to regurgitate and type. It can be automatically done on the fly and consistent 100% of the time. If I move along at the top under templates, again, you're able to add a new template and say you add a new template for houses, for example, and you say, this is for the Kuna estate template, click on add. And basically when you add the item, it'll automatically reflect your groupings for construction. I hope you can notice that it looks different for pools. And then you can start saying, okay, in a Kuna, we need to add basics, we need to add, main road or whatever it might be, or side access demolition, or it's got sloping expenses or anything might be. So then that way, as soon as the sales consultant applies this template, all the items they might typically just forget because they don't remember what's specific for that estate or that inclusion list, it'll deploy. And it's as simple as adding the items here in just the same way as the quote from the front end, and then clicking the little arrow to apply this template called the Kuna estate. So it's just that simple. So say, for example, if I searched this address next door, and I wanted to say click houses and click all and click on this design for argument's sake, and notice all the setbacks have changed. So the front setback's huge because of the registered road is 9 meters. We can apply this and we're struggling with the rear setback, so this design won't work. But just to reiterate the quoting functionality, you can click on houses, click on drop down, and basically we'll see a Kuna estate plus all the other templates. So I didn't really add anything to a Kuna estate, so it'll just be blank. But if I apply one of the other ones, test, it'll apply whatever we've been including there in those sample templates, whether it's basics. So basics could be 25 grand for this estate, it's got X, Y, and Z issues. And you can see how versatile it is. And then the rules are obviously a lot more expanded for houses with a lot more conditions, and it goes through those rules. And then again, you can start a new quote, add the quote, start creating it as I was showing before. So going back to the admin, I'll quickly show what other functionality it's got. We've touched on automatic deposit calculation, automatic discount control, automatically, very quickly create new templates and apply those templates at will. So templates can even reflect even the salesperson. You can have the John's template, the Barry template, Harry, Barry, Larry, all those. You can do it whatever reflects your current business, so you can get up and running as quickly as possible. Now, this is where you can control both your terms and conditions. It can be formatted bold, italic, so you can add all of those here. Your thank you notes, you can decide whether to include or not include a thank you note, to include or not include a social, your signature block, item discounts. Say you wanted to apply discounts, line item discounts, behind the discount. So you say, okay, this item is $1,000, I'm going to throw it in for free. Or say, for example, you just wanted to just hide the amount because you just wanted to put your best foot forward and not, show that you've just discounted 50% something. You can hide discounts, section amounts, item amounts. You can make it as simple as you want. You can basically have just the items written down with no item descriptions if you wanted to do a summary version of the quote and present that summary version. So you don't have to fear about how much information you show or don't show. You're able to sort of change that. So Say for instance, I took an item price and unit measure, and we saved that. I've got one quick question: is up to date planning requirements included for all sites? I'm not sure which locations that you're talking about, but basically I'll explain it this way. Currently it's covering Queensland. It works across Australia, but the rules for granny flats is across the board. The rules for pools is across the board. The rules for houses across the board. Right now there are CDC-based rules. The DA rules are coming into play in the next 2 weeks. So you'll be able to switch between CDC and DA. So if, for example, in CDC, for argument's sake, a house that triggers into E4, it will trigger into, it's not a permissible build type, and then you'll be able to pick the DA and it will apply those DCP rules for the council. So depending on what build type you're working on, that'll apply. Canibuild also works internationally, so right now it's covering Canada, United States, New Zealand, and Australia, and the rules are less expansive in, say, the United States and Canada. However, they are quite expansive in California because we've got quite a few clients there. So depending on which build type, happy for you to reach out and I can give a more detailed answer. But if I jump to here, for example, in here, Canibuild's spatially aware enough to know what build type this is. The front setback's 9 meters because the Victoria Road is being a registered road, hence highlighted in yellow. It's even doing the site setbacks. I think if I rotate the design, I'll be able to trigger a different site setback because it's automatically calculating the building line, which means it's so spatially aware that even depending on the orientation of the build, it knows what the site setbacks is. So you can see that widened up. And if I reposition this into space, you'll notice that it adjusts again. So it's incredibly powerful, but it's incredibly simplistically done from the front end in order to ensure that A, you sell more, you quote more, and you're able to do this confidently in front of a client without freaking out that you'll have to enter in 300 data inputs or it just doesn't work. So I hope you can see that through this live demonstration, sort of chopping and changing and jumping between houses and pools, which most of you won't do. You'll be focused on your primary build type, but be it pools or duplexes or houses, and there's just drill down into that quote. So say for instance, if I click back on this this dwelling, you'll remember exactly where I left off, so you don't have to kick off anything. If I go to quotes and go back to, say, pools and get this quote and sort of kick this off, press OK, go to docs, it's increased in number, we're up to the 7th quote already in the time of this presentation. Clicking download. Now you can see unit of measure, price is gone. You can see that we've hidden all those details that I've deselected. You can also notice that the description are gone. And basically you've now got a more summarized version of the quote. You don't like the section totals, hide it. You don't like the line item amounts, hide it. It's just that simple. So say for instance, you were just shooting off very quick, you know, there's 10 leads that come in by email and, you know, you think, okay, well, how qualified, how not qualified. Just do a summary, very excluding line item amount quote, have a reception or whoever's doing that initial lead take on the phone, just to shoot off a quote. If someone's just demanding, look, I just want to know how much this granny flat costs or this cost, you can shoot a quote that is quite detailed, formatted together with a site plan that hides all the breakdown of details, so you don't drown in already talking about the cost of a creepy crawly, whether it's a pool, or the cost of an LED light if it's a house. And then if they're interested, you bring them in, go back to quote, and then expand on the detail. Now we'll have line item amounts, descriptions, we'll expand the quote quite expansively, and now the quote goes from a 1-page summary to a 10-page document, in which case they can then make a decision to move forward. Now, and you know, thanks for the questions for those brave enough to put them in. genuinely, the more questions I get, the better it's going to be. So, try to sort of jam if you like, or, the more curly the question, the better. So again, in terms of the quoting, what a lot of our clients do is they generate a site plan to be done in conjunction with those quotes. So say, for example, I click on site plan, say I wanted to show the aerial contours, and say this gets a bit noisy, I just want to show it a little bit cleaner, to be attached to the quote. I go to checkout, agree, order. Now we've just ordered a site plan. It's generating in the background. So now in Docs, we've got site plan. We click download, click on this. And now we've got a generated site plan showing the contours, showing the site area, the existing floor area, the proposed floor area, your insignia, your branding colors. It looks like a very detailed architectural site plan. You've got the zoomed in view of the pool, so you can see those details in terms of the fence and the contours that apply and the sewer line at the back. And then you can imagine this in conjunction with a detailed quote. You're able to now do quotes on the fly. You're able to do quotes whether it's a sales staff sitting at a display home, whether it's houses, or someone walks off on the street to start pointing at fiberglass pools resting on the wall in terms of, oh, this one. And then you're able to sit them down wherever they are and show them their address with your product, be it a pool, a duplex, or what have you. And then they're already engaging with the sales staff, reflecting the genuine sales process and not letting quotes get in the way. Now, I've been in construction for more than 20 years while having a computing science background, which is a weird mix. And the thing that really hurt me the most in terms of our sales team was they were just working 24/7. They just were. And I know some bosses might say, well, that's great, but it was terrible to see that they were doing site visits during the day, or they were just manning the display homes during the day. And then they just felt compelled to just scribble all these bits and pieces, go back home, and then either do the midnight shift and just do, okay, I'm going to have dinner with my family and then spend 2 hours doing a quote, email them out into the abyss, because you're just hoping that what you've jotted down is correct. And then basically doing, that goes on repeat. If you don't have time during the week, you spend Sunday. So if it's the boss, Sunday becomes the quoting day. You just sit there all day generating quotes. So I hope you can see that this is quite versatile. Got another question. If the site plan is to be used as a site survey, do they add a distance of structure and major trees? Yes. So essentially, if you're using this as a site plan, there's two options in terms of what the site plan is. You can order detailed architecturals in the system. So you can do the architecturals 99. That's full submissible architectural drawings, which includes all the details. But with the generated free site plan, basically what it does include is it includes automatically, you can see these distances here, which I'm highlighting on the toggle, distance to house, distance to road, distance to the rear, distance to the side, distance to the other side. So say, for example, you wanted to even fine tune this, that for whatever reason, due to leaving a space for a pump, you're able to do 3 meters and you're able to control that to that nth degree. You're also able to do things like annotation. So you can click an annotation and say, clients to do X, Y, Z. And then you've got those annotation points. And if you do those annotation points and you do those sort of markings, when you do that site plan generation, so let me do it again. Let me just go to cart, site plan, click on site plan, click on checkout, agree, order. I'll redo those orders. Give it a few seconds, go back to docs, wait a bit for the site plan to generate. You see the 2 now. You click on download, and let me just move my little Zoom thing that just knows to get out of the way. And then we've got notes, clients, and then you've got that notation, number one, client to do this, you've got the details, and you've also got the 18.3, 33.7, the 3 meters here, you've got all the information. That's a bit clumpy, so go to the second page, see it in detail. Now, in regards to trees and things like that, for all the Sydney metropolitan area, excluding some of the coastal areas, we've loaded up about 22 million trees. So let's just see if I search this one. It's got the trees there. If you hover over them, you've got heights. You've got this tree here, which is lost all its trees, so it's probably on its way out. And then again, if I say, for example, I was going to build a granny flat on this site, you can see that there's a drip line, and then you're able to sort of position this and see whether or not it fits on site and whether you have to remove that tree. And this is looking like it's going to be quite tight. And then you can see if you can miss that drip line position, but it's getting a bit tight. If I go to the planning rules, setbacks, allowed position, yeah, it's just touching on that tree drip line. So if I pick a smaller design or try, I'm now touching the house. So you can see whether something fits, choose a different design, and again, you've got that flexibility. And then that's the whole idea that the site plan, what's being cited, what you're quoting. Here, if you're going to do a granny flat, you go to quote, granny flats, then you've got the granny flat, you've got the lease, design, you click on add items, and now you've got preliminary assessment, you're saying, okay, acoustic report basics, add all these in. You've got these in your grouping specific for granny flats, and then you get quote, contact, Mr. Client 2. You've got a $250 preliminary fee just to kick things off, to generate a contract or what have you. Click on docs, there's quote, download. And now you've got the lease, you've got the amount. Notice that my settings to hide the pricing and unit measure's gone, still hiding everything because I haven't changed the setting. You've got your deposit to 50, the grand total. And then you've got a very quick quote. And then you do a site plan, add that site plan, add annotations. You can see how many quotes you can start generating. So our genuine experience from all the companies that are using the quoting system, you'll notice the following immediate benefits. Number one, you'll be generating a lot more quotes without that kind of psychosis that, geez, last thing I want to do is quotes for the day, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll send it next week. You'll be able to say to the client, have you got 5 minutes or 1 minute? Let's just do this, let's just cite it, get them interested in this whole citing process. Let's go to quote, what were you thinking, aircon this, that. You can apply a template. If it's an investor, you can have the investor template. It adds to the items to be able to keep the price as low as possible. Then you say to the client, are you happy? Yes, I don't know. And then you go, okay, Mr. Jones, what do I have to do to get your business? And notice that the discussion is right then and there. You've got the client in front of you. You're able to generate the quote. You're able to give the salespeople the flexibility through the discounting and the tools to be able to make that decision right then and there, as opposed to coming back, speaking to John, can you check the rules? Can I quote for this? Do I have to add something? So in the rules, say it detects that it's in a BAL-affected area or in an acid sulfate, saying these site-specific requirements, you're able to then just add, you need a bushfire report to be able to calculate BAL. You don't have to go back to the client a week later. You're able to do all this at once. So the strength in Canibuild is just noticing that you're now correlating your citing, your rules, and your quote in the same time, so it avoids the whole back and forth of finding something out 1 week later to be able to apply that price. And then with the power of having contours, you can already add site costs. If you guys have square meter rates for drop edges and things like that, you'll be able to say, look, in this site, you're quite lucky. It's a 250 mil fall from left to right. That's under 300 mil. That's within our criteria. I can promise you there's no site cost. That client goes to the next display home, or the next client says, oh, can you confirm there's no site cost? They'll be, oh, I don't know, you have to pay us, $2,000, get a survey, this, that, find out. Who do you think they're going to go to? They're going to go to the first salesperson that already gave them the information, gave them the screenshot, and show them, in my quote, there's no site cost in terms of slope. So that's the power and that's the flexibility. So in essence, and I know I've gone through a lot, but I'm hoping I've given people an insight in terms of what's possible. And essentially, it gives you the power to do quoting, do estimating, do that preliminary sales process, which is all important. Try to imagine how many times there's been an argument between the salesperson and, say, management or salesperson, say the internal draftee or town planner or person that does the planning checks, and say, my God, I've been speaking to this client for 2 weeks. What do you mean that it's a registered road and the setback's now 9 meters and he can't put it there, and I have to tell the client or something? How many times does the discount get miscalculated or abused? So what this does is it gives the salespeople that mental freedom to just sell. They no longer have to be quasi town planners, quasi estimators, quasi architects and designers. They can just get on with the act of selling, which is what they want to do and is what the business as a whole wants them to do. So, but Canibuild gives them that power, and Canibuild quote is an essential part of that process to make it happen in less than a minute. So basically, I've gone through the main parts of quoting. There's a lot of other features in the actual app. Happy to answer those questions if someone's got those questions. But essentially, the live webinar for the quoting aspect I've covered. And you can see that what other application is able to give you a run through of how to do quoting in a way that's both intuitive and understood, and you can tell just from the amount of clicks I'm doing and not using any more hands to type things in and type amounts, type quantities and calculate discounts. I never grabbed a calculator to be able to produce a quote, produce a site plan, click print, or download the PDFs, attach them, staple them, whatever might be the scenario, send them off to a client, whether they're in front of you in person or by email or whatever, and you're done. So when the salesperson goes home, they go home to their family and it's over. And then they wake up fresh for tomorrow morning to hit it again. And there's no more telling the client, I should get back to you. Close the business Friday. And then Friday comes, oh, look, something's come up. We'll do it on, I'll do it on the weekend and this and that. That's all gone. Yes. So the question is the same level of information available in rural areas in Australia? So rather than me just say yes, let me just zoom out. Let's just pick a site, search this address. There you go. So we've got trees, 25, 21, 23. We can click information here. This rural, RU4, class 5 in acid sulfate, Council Hawkesbury, area 20,000, frontage 65 meters, looks like an impressive house with an impressive pool. And you're able to start doing the exact same process. So let's say this person wanted a granny flat. Notice the front setbacks calculated, side setbacks calculated, all based on the block size. You've got all the information automatically detecting what the distance is from the main house, 25.8 meters, dynamic. Click on planning rules, scroll down. Permissible build type under CDC, RU4, no, cross. There's a question mark in site specific, val, it's detecting it's bushfire. So even though these things look like they're not part of the quote process, they are, correct? Because can you imagine a client, a salesperson, say a new salesperson that you haven't had time to train all the 1,000 checklists that they have to do. They go out to this site, they look at the backyard and go, well, we've got plenty of room. And then they start quoting and discussing and to the client, go back to the office, and then someone else takes a look at it, logs into the New South Wales planning portal a week later after 10 phone calls and 10 conversations, and basically just look at this and say, well, but it's RU4. You can't be CDC. You're going to have to tell the client X, Y, and Z. You're going to have to add DA costs. You're going to have to apply the DA template, this, that. It'll all fall apart, correct? But right now, I've just randomly picked a site, randomly checked the trees, randomly know I can still place in between these trees if they wanted to, change it to house, whatever, whatever might be the scenario. It's just, I don't know, the mix of people that are listening in, but if I clicked on a pool, in-ground pool, let's just say this one, and notice that the side setbacks change or the front setbacks change because it knows it's a pool. And then I've placed the pool and just, let's just say, we can pick duplexes, houses, farm buildings, shed buildings, and I'll apply the shed buildings. Or if anyone's listening in that do sheds and garages, it automatically determines if it's exempt or non-exempt. So there is no application on the market worldwide that does what Canibuild does. And then if you couple the citing, the rules, the quoting together, and you literally turn a potential 2-3 week process in without exaggerating a few seconds or a minute or 2 minutes, then literally the conversation with the salesperson is convincing the client to use you as the contractor as the best choice to perform the works, rather than getting into a quagmire of saying, look, let me check New South Wales planning portal, should be right, I'll let you know, the close of business end of the week, or that's gone. So you do more quotes, you're able to get back to more leads more quickly, you're able to present information that's second to none, and you don't even have to charge $1 for the client to do this feasibility work because it's instantaneous. So there is no way that anyone that's looking at this presentation cannot believe that through Canibuild they wouldn't be able to get more sales quicker with less effort. There's just no way. So I genuinely hope that this presentation hasn't come across as overly salesy, but it has provided you with insight in an alternative way of doing quoting that doesn't require an astrophysics degree. Got another question? In the view, yeah, it's scaled. So basically this pool is to that size. So if I look through the other pools, this is like a ginormous pool, that's what I was saying. So essentially, like for instance, if I click on pools, all, and I pick another pool design, say this kidney one, it all depends on the size of the pool that's being uploaded. But there you go. So that gives you an idea that it's all to scale. So all the designs that are uploaded are scaled to the size of that pool. So if there's a larger pool, it will scale. So this is that pool. If I switch between that pool, then it's this. If I switch to a house and say pick a large house with a granny flat, it's a lot bigger. Everything looks small because you were talking about a 20,000 square meter land, and this house looks like it's they didn't skimp when they built it. So, but I hope you can tell that everything's to scale and everything's to high res. So, for instance, in the house, you can zoom in, you can start creating annotations saying client wants walk-in shower, and add another annotation, remove walk-in robe. And you're able to start building a very rich feasibility, say, in moments. And you can see how quickly I'm switching between the designs. So, and these categories that you're seeing, in terms of single stories, single dwelling, 2-story, or the pool categories, inflatable, portable, spa, you're able to create those categories as it fits your business. So for houses, it might be frontage, 15, 16, 17, 18 meter frontages, or sizes of single story, double story pools. It can be fiberglass, concrete sizes again. And the idea is you just scroll to the left and you've got all your house designs, or whether it's a granny flat designs or pools. So hopefully that answers that question in terms of scaling, and it's all to scale. Okay, so if there's any other questions, please feel free to sort of put them through. I'll hang around for a few more moments, ask away. Else, get in contact with Canibuild. You can go to canibuild.com to get all the information. pricing. If you're already a subscriber and you've jumped on to get an understanding of quotes, just reach out to us and give us a call or email us. You can email us at sales@canibuild.com, or my direct email, which is tcacaro, last name spelled C-O-C-A-R-O, so tcacaro@canibuild.com, and just ask for me. We're all accessible, and we'll be incredibly keen to be able to show you how Canibuild can work for your business, and be it for quoting, siting, planning rule checks, whether you're in Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, Western Australia, Tasmania, Northern Territory, New Zealand, Canada, America, does not matter. Just reach out to us with whatever your questions might be, and we'll promise you we'll get back to you as quickly as possible. And we'll also look to see to get this presentation up on YouTube as quickly as possible for those that want to sort of go through it again, or pass the link on to someone else within your organization that may want to find out a bit more detail. Probably the last little point I'll do is notice that the setbacks line up with the existing house as well. So it is incredibly powerful, nothing like it on the market. We've got an incredible team based out of Bella Vista here in New South Wales, Sydney, New South Wales. Everything's done in-house. We've got an incredible team, and we really genuinely hope Canibuild can help your business sell more, and sell more in a way that doesn't involve working 24/7. So everyone, appreciate your time. Thank you for listening in. Really hope we can sort of do something further. Really hope you can reach out. Until then, we'll be doing another presentation webinar in the next 2 weeks. If anyone wants me to focus on a particular point, because a few of you already reached out in terms of quoting, feel free to let me know what you want me to focus on, or else I'll be touching on another point of what Canibuild can do for your business. Again, thank you very much, and take care.